Hello friends, welcome to Utkarsh College of Management and Technology. This is my third video and my subject name is Legal Aspect for Business, and this particular subject I am teaching for MBA second semester. So let's move on to next slide. Offer. So today we are going to study about offer. So definition and essentials. We'll just go through the definition. First of all, a contract is initiated by an offer or proposal. For this purpose, when contract is formed between two or more parties, a person making the offer is known as the promiser, and the person accepting the same is known as acceptor. An offer so tabled for acceptance of the recipient must be valid. In this article, we look at the elements of valid offer in detail. When a person signifies to another his willingness to do or to abstain from doing anything, with a view to obtaining the assent of that other to such act or abstinence, he is said to make an offer or proposal. Section 2 under subsection A of Indian Contract Act. So overall, from this definition, this is very much clear that offer is nothing but a proposal. So if any of the contract be made, so for contract two or more parties are involved. Whenever this happens, one party, what he does is he offers something to another party, or he promiser, or he is a promiser. He promised something to second party, and the another party or the second party, he will accept that particular offer. So he will become an acceptor because he is accepting the offer. Once the offer is accepted, it is become valid, and if it is become valid, it will be eligible for making a contract. So it is very much clear from this definition what is an offer. Let's move on to another slide. Express or implied. So an offer can be tabled through words or conduct. An offer made through words, which could be written or spoken, is known as express contract, whereas one addressed through the conduct and actions of offerer is known as implied contract. So you understood what is express or implied contract? Express contract, as the name itself indicating, that expressing the thoughts or expressing the views or expressing the terms and conditions. So if one party expresses his views or his terms and condition orally to some other party, this is express. We can say that it is offer made by words or by his expressions. An offer made through words, which could be written or which could be spoken also, is known as an express or contract, whereas one addressed through the conduct and action of offerer is known as an implied contract. If an offerer who is offering something to another party or who is offering something to acceptor, that it is like conducting or actions, he is doing something, it means this is implied. We can say that this is implied contract. Okay, it means there he is not speaking or he is not giving in writing, but what he is doing is he is doing the same work through his actions or conduct. Okay, this is implied contract. Then comes legal relations. An offer is made for execution of contract between two or more parties. In this respect, it prompts for a creation of legal relation and legal consequences in case of non-performance. It is pertinent to note that social contract without establishment of legal relations will not constitute a valid offer. So, legal relation is a mandatory term. There should be a legal relation between both the parties. So, as I told you earlier, there would be two parties, minimum two parties involved to make a contract. So, these two parties should have a legal relationship between them. In this respect, it prompts for creation of a legal relation and legal consequences. It means they are into contract and certain terms and conditions have been fixed between them, and there are some legal obligations or responsibilities which both the parties have to incur, or which both the parties have to do here. What they have to do? They have to fulfill their legal relations or their legal obligations. Okay, so as per the terms and condition, whatever it is mentioned in the contract, these parties are liable for the legal obligation to be fulfilled. It is pertinent to note that the social contract without establishment of legal relation will not constitute a valid offer. So any of the social contract, if there is no legal relation, we can say that will not constitute a valid offer. It is not at all a valid offer. So there should be a legal relation. This is important element that should not be missed. Then comes clarity matters. An offer must be definite and clear, without which a binding contract is not created. A contract of such kind is considered to be void. To state as provided in respective legal provision, agreements, the meaning of which is not certain or capable of being certain, are void. So, clarity matters. A contract of such kind is considered to be void. If there is no clarity, then it means that kind of contract, it is not at all void. It is considered to be void because there is no clarity in such contract. Clarity in the sense there would be no mutual understanding between them, and one party offers something and another party takes into another sense. So we can say that there will be no mutual understanding between them. So there will be a confusion. One party is thinking something, another party is reacting in some other way. This is like ambiguity or kind of confusion happens between them. So clarity matter is an important element which should be there whenever any contract formed. Then the clarity matter is very much necessary. Then comes, it is not an invitation to offer. An invitation to offer merely invites the other party for an offer but doesn't make it. To reiterate, the sender of invitation intimates the receiver that he or she it intends to deal with anybody who is willing to negotiate after dully considering the information furnished in the invite. Communications falling under this category doesn't constitute an offer. So, as a statement, it is very much clear. It is not an invitation to offer. So, an invitation to offer merely invites the other party for an offer but doesn't make it. So, if some party in giving an invitation of an offer to some other party, it doesn't mean that the other party will make it. The other party will uh, accept the offer, and after accepting offer he is fulfilling his obligations. It is not at all necessary. Other party may react in some other way also. There will be a lot of chances he may run away because of uncertainty, or there will be a coercion or kind of threatened activities. So there would be a lot of alternative or lot of situations which may happen. So mere invitation to offer, we can't say that the offer is made or contract can be made. It is just an invitation. After inviting, after giving invitation of an offer to other party should or he must accept that invitation. After accepting that invitation, he has to fulfill his obligation also. Then, specific or general. Offers may be specific or general, and both of these are construed as valid. It may be noted though that if an offer is made to specific person of that matter, a group of person, it is termed as specific and can only be accepted by a person to whom it is made. On the other hand, an offer made to public is termed as a general, and such an offer can be accepted by any person who fulfills the specific conditions or specified conditions. So it is very much clear from this specific or general offer. Specific offer is nothing but an offer which is made to any particular person or any of the specified person, and the general offer is nothing but offer which is made to a general public. So under general public, anyone can accept the particular offer as per the terms and condition mentioned in the agreement. So specific and general it is clear, right? Let's move on to next slide. Communication of offer. An offer stated by the offerer must be clear in its communication so as to facilitate acceptance. Lack of clarity will result in avoidance of offer made. So this is very important point, communication of an offer. The particular offer which has been made by an offerer should be very much clear so that it will facilitate acceptance from the other side or acceptance from the acceptor. So if an offer is not at all clear or there is lack of clarity in that case, what will happen? The result is voidance of an offer made. It means whatever the offer an offerer made, that will become void automatically because it is not at all clear. Offerer is understanding what is want to communicate to acceptor, but acceptor is not getting what exactly a offerer wants to say or wants to communicate to him. So there will be a confusion in this. Next slide. Conditional offer. An offer has scope to be conditional, though an acceptance hasn't. The person making the offer may include any compliance requirements if deemed necessary. However, an offer shouldn't have a condition which demands the recipient to accept a one-sided offer. For instance, an offerer cannot state in an offer that a proposal is deemed to be accepted if no response is filed no response is filed within a given lifetime, within a given timeline. So conditional offer. So there will be a condition. Conditional offer, as the name suggests, offer which has been made by an offerer. There should be a certain condition under that also. An offer has scope to be conditional through an acceptance hasn't. The person making an offer may include any compliance requirement if deemed necessary. However, an offer shouldn't have a condition which demands the recipient to accept one-sided offer. So there will be a compliance requirement under that if deemed necessary. Offerer, if he feels that there should be compliance requirements which has to be included in offer, he will definitely include in that particular offer. That will become a conditional. He is putting some condition under it. So conditions, what conditions will tell? If this will happen, then this will result. This is condition. And if that will happen, this will be output. This is called a condition. So some condition, if there will be always there in the offer, then the acceptor, based on the condition, he will react. Okay, let's move on to next slide. No scope for cross offers. Cross offers take place when two parties make similar offers to each other by ignoring the offer from other end. So here two parties make the similar offers to each other by ignoring the offer from the other end. The acceptance of cross offers doesn't make for complete agreement. This is precisely because if the parties furnish an offer as acceptance of other, it will potentially lead to issues in performance of contract. So it is very much clear, cross offers take place when two parties make similar offer and to each other by ignoring the offer from the other end. So they are ignoring the offer from the other end, but they are making a similar offer to each other. So there is no scope for the cross offers. Acceptance. Then coming up to this definition, acceptance. So we are going to study this definition. When a person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal offer is said to be accepted. A proposal or offer, when accepted, becomes a promise. So this is simple definition. Whenever any person to whom the proposal is made or offer is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal or offer is said to be accepted. It means another party, the acceptor, what is doing here is he is accepting the offer or he is accepting the proposal. A proposal or offer, when accepted, becomes a promise. When proposal or offer it is accepted by the other end, it will become automatically a promise. So what is promise? Promise is nothing but a proposal or offer when accepted by the acceptor. Essential of a valid acceptance. So we are going to study essentials, means what are the necessities of a valid acceptance. When the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal or offer is said to be accepted. Proposal or offer, when accepted, becomes a promise. So it is very much essential or very much necessary for a valid acceptance that proposal, offer, whatever is made to a acceptor, it is very much clear so that the terms and condition, if it is clear, so it will be very very easy for the acceptor also to choose or to decide among what has to be done from the particular proposal or offer which is being made to the acceptor. Acceptance must be given by that person only to whom the offer is made. So acceptance will be given by that person only to whom the offer is made. It is not like that someone has offered you something and you are giving the acceptance to some other party. That will become a mess. It will be very very confusing here. So here the paragraph goes like, an acceptance to be valid must be given only by a person to whom offer has been given. In other words, acceptance must move from the offeree and no one else. So here it is very much clear. Acceptance, we have to, or the acceptor has to give the acceptance to the offerer only, not to some other party. Why he has to give the acceptance to the offerer? Because he is offering something. He is offering something to the acceptor, then acceptor has to react on that, whether he has to accept that or he has to not accept it. So if he is accepting the offer, he has to respond back to the offerer only, not to the third party or any other party. Acceptance must be communicated. Offeree has to communicate his acceptance to offerer. It is also very much necessary that the communication of acceptance should be communicated to the offerer by the offeree. It means if offeree or the acceptor is accepting on terms and conditions of the offerer or proposer, then in that case what he has to do is he has to communicate the same thing in the same sense to the offerer, that he is agreed or he is accepting his terms and condition. The acceptance must be given within the time prescribed or within a reasonable time. Sometimes the time limit is fixed within which an acceptance is to be given. In such cases, the acceptance must be given within the fixed time limit. In case no time is prescribed, the acceptance should be given within a reasonable time. The term reasonable time depends upon the facts and circumstances of each case. So it is very much clear the acceptance must be given within the time prescribed and or within the reasonable time. If offerer who is making an offer to the offeree, he is putting some condition in that condition, like he is asking to respond back within a certain time frame, then offeree has to respond in that particular time frame only. If he is not responding in that particular time frame, then the reasonable time will be depends upon the facts and circumstances of each case. So it is not like that offerer has made something to has offered something to offeree, but offeree what he is doing is he is responding to it after 1 year or 2 years. That will become a foolish activity. If he is offering something to him, if offerer is offering something to the offeree, then offeree has to respond it immediately or as per the time which has been asked by the offerer. If it is not doing so, then whatever the reasonable time, it depends on the facts and circumstances of each case. In that case, acceptor has to respond back. Acceptance must be unconditional. It is another important essential element of valid acceptance. A valid contract arises only if acceptance is absolute and unconditional. It means that acceptance should be in total and without any condition. So acceptance must be unconditional. If you are accepting something, it is not like that you are putting some condition on that. If acceptor is accepting anything, so it should be unconditional. There should be no condition in that. A valid contract arises only if the acceptance is absolute and unconditional. It means that the acceptance should be in total and without any condition. Acceptance must be communicated in the method specified by offerer. When an offer is made for same, acceptance must be communicated in the method specified by offerer. Okay. Method. So method in the sense, sometimes offerer what he does is he is explaining some sort of method to the acceptor or offeree, that in this way you have to respond me back or you have to give your acceptance. So if offerer is specifying any of such method, then acceptor has to respond back or has to give his acceptance in the same manner or in the same method being asked by the offerer. The acceptance must be given before the lapse of offer. Valid contract can arise only when the acceptance is given before the offerer has elapsed or withdrawn. An acceptance which is made after withdrawal of offer is invalid and does not create any legal relationship. So once the offer is lapsed, in that case the contract is not valid, that will become invalid. So an acceptance which is made after withdrawal of offer is invalid and does not create any legal relationship. So there will be no legal relationship between the parties, because here what is happening is withdrawal offer is invalid. So acceptance must be given before the lapse of offer. It is not like that you are giving an acceptance after 6 months or 1 year, after the particular time frame has gone. It means lapse of offer. You are lapsing an offer, that time frame you are crossing. So acceptor has to understand this. The time frame knowledge should be there to the acceptor. Within that time frame he has to give his acceptance back to the offerer. The acceptance must be communicated. It is an important and essential element of a valid acceptance. It's an essential element of a valid acceptance. That acceptance must be communicated back to the offerer. Thank you guys, and for any queries please feel free to mention your doubt in the comment box. Thanks a lot. Thanks for today. I'll come up with next video very soon. Thank you.